Hello friends, in this video I will share with you some smart hacks and cheats that you can make use of in order to ace your P&G online test. Now I've made several videos on my channel where I help you understand what is the P&G online test and how do you go about solving it. In this special video I will share with you some special hacks that I have not shared before, which will help you dramatically reduce the time in which you can answer a particular question, which means that in the given time frame that you're given for the test, you can answer more questions and hence get more questions right. And this way, improve your score and ace those tests. Now, number one tip is don't give all the tests in one go. P&G has 4 tests. One is the peak performance test, which measures you on peak performance factors, whether you have them or not, and whether they are in sync with what P&G is looking for. The next 3 are the cognitive tests, which include the digit test, the switch, and the grid. All these 4 don't have to be done in one go. You can appear for the peak performance test, close the screen, close your laptop, and the next day you can wake up and then appear for the digit test, which comes second. Third comes the switch, fourth comes the grid. So you don't have to give them all in one go. However, one thing that I recommend and I call out every time, don't wait it out a lot as well. Try to finish the test within the first week in which you got the link. Don't wait for a month or 2 or 3 weeks, because even if you cleared the test, P&G is trying to fill up the position. So if there is someone who appears on the test and they get material number of candidates who have appeared in the test and who have cleared the test, they will close down the position and they'll move to the interview process. And if you're still preparing and working on getting better at it and taking your sweet time, which is more than a week, then you will miss the opportunity. So make sure you deliver or you execute the test within the first week of receiving the link. However, you don't need to do all those 4 tests in one sitting. Give a break. Take one test and then take a break, practice for the second one and then give the second one. Take a break, third one, and then take a break, fourth one. This way you will be able to master each one of them and you will be able to tackle them and ace them. Now, tip number 2, which is one of the most important tip, is to practice, practice, and practice. A lot of my followers and people who I coach to appear on the P&G assessment ask me if I can recommend a resource on the web where they can go and practice the P&G online test. And here is one resource that I was able to find after sifting through a number of resources on the web, which mimics the P&G test in the real P&G test to the max. I will leave the link to that resource in the description of this video. If you are interested in practicing and getting better at the online test, you can check out that resource. Now, the reason it is important for you to practice is not just to get better at solving the questions, but also be able to simulate the test on the final day, because simulation will help you get familiar with the test, the format, the font, where the timing will show, how the timing looks like, where and how the questions will appear. All of this is very important, because if you are not familiar with all of this and you show up on the test without any practice of the format or of how the test will appear, your mind will consume some energy to determine or get familiar with the format, especially during the first 1 or 2 or 3 questions, which will consume at least a minute or so from the 6-minute time which is allotted to you. This 6 minutes is very precious. So it is better that you get yourself familiar with the format and how the test progresses in advance, as against trying to get yourself familiar while appearing on the test. So this test practice will not just help you practice solving the questions, but will also help you practice or get familiar with the format of the question. So I highly recommend that you do go check out this resource and practice, practice, and practice before you appear in the final test. Now, one call out before we move forward. I have to ask for you. 1, press the like button, as this keeps me motivated. 2nd, press the subscribe button along with the bell icon so you get notified as soon as I put a new content on this channel. On this channel, I post content pertaining to career and financial success for early and mid-career professionals. Now, apart from that, in case you want me to continue making unbiased content like this, you can support me on patreon.com. I will leave the link to my Patreon page in the description of this video. Now let's get rolling back into the video. Now, tip number 3, whenever you see a difficult question, assess whether it will take you more than 30 seconds to solve or not. If it will take you more than 30 seconds to solve, skip and move forward. The reason I say this is because for each type of test, which is the digit, the switch, the grid, you only have 6 minutes to solve all the questions that you will get. And if you're applying for a managerial position, you should be targeting at least answering correctly 12 or more questions. And if you are applying for a non-managerial position, then you should be targeting to at least answer correctly 10 or more questions. For this to happen, you need 30 seconds per question. So if you think that there is a particular question which will take more than 30 seconds to solve, by the way, if you are thinking it will take you more than 30 seconds to solve, probably it will take you more than 45 seconds in reality. So you rather skip that question which you find difficult, you think it will take you more than 30 seconds to solve, and move on and try to solve the next question which you think you can address in a much quicker way, because time here is the essence. These questions are not hard. You can ace these questions if there is unlimited time. The only challenge is that you have to do it very quickly and in that limited time period. So try to move fast and try to hit those 10 to 12 questions correctly, as against trying to answer each and every question correctly, however missing that 10 to 12 number or 10 to 12 question mark, which is very, very important. So make sure you run through the test and you address the questions which you know very fast, and the ones that you find difficult will take you more than 30 seconds. Just skip them and move forward. Now for the peak performance test, it is very, very, very important that you internalize the P&G peak performance factors and P&G's principles, values, and purpose. So just read them not just once, read them 10 times, just read them and internalize. Every time you read a line or you read about them, just think how you can fit in that situation. What are the kind of examples you've had in past where you fit in that situation? How you can relate to those factors. Because when you are appearing for the peak performance test, all the questions are trying to judge you whether you fit in those criteria and that criteria which are called out by the peak performance factors. For the peak performance factors, I made a separate video where I explain in detail what are the peak performance factors, what are the elements under each of those factors, how can you relate to them, and I've explained them, I've expanded on them. So make sure you check out that video as well. But with regards to your practice, it is important after checking out that video that you read those peak performance factors and the PVPs of P&G, which is the purpose, values, and principles, at least 10 times. Just read through them and internalize. This will take you not more than 30 minutes if you just read them 10 times. Or maybe you can take some breaks. You read them 3 times, take a break, then 3 again, then take a break, and then another 4. But make sure you read it and internalize before you appear in the test. The idea here is not for you to memorize everything, because that would be very difficult. The idea here for you is to make yourself or make those elements or factors sink in your brain, sink in your personality, sink in your character. So when you're appearing in the test, it is very easy for you to identify which question relates to which peak performance factor and how you're supposed to answer or address them. Now, one thing that I should mention here is that in case you're interested in having a one-to-one coaching session with me, you can find the details of how to go about booking that one-to-one coaching session in the link that I will provide in the description of this video. It could be about how you want to prepare for the test, or if you have any questions, whether you want to prepare for the interview on P&G or any other company as well, or you just want to have a coaching and mentoring session. All is available, and you can find the details of how to go about booking that session with me using the link that I will share in the description of this video. Now back to the video. For the switch challenge, which is apparently the most difficult one, every time a follower or a person I'm coaching, they come to me and they call out that they find the switch one the most difficult of all the tests. And I get it. One trick that you can make use of, which I have not called in my previous video, by the way, I will leave the link of my previous video here where I explain what is switch challenge and how do you solve different difficulty of questions. So I have different questions in that video with different difficulties. So I help you address or solve each of those questions. However, there is one trick or one hack which I didn't call out in the video, which is whereby instead of trying to solve for the entire question and trying to look for an answer for the entire question, you rather do a hit and trial method, whereby you pick one symbol and try to identify its location in the answer. Only one. And if it has a unique location, that is your answer. And in case it doesn't have a unique location, only then you move to the second symbol and then try to identify its position in the answer. And in case that has a unique position, that is your answer. So instead of solving for all the symbols and trying to find the position of all the symbols that are in the question into the answer, you can just make use of this hack. I will explain you how you can make use of this hack with two examples that I will present in this video. So I will share my screen and help you with the two examples as to how you can make use of the hit and trial method in order to ace the test, again with the smart hack, so you can do or you can find that answer in the quickest and fastest way possible, so you're able to solve more questions in those 6 minutes. So let's take the first example where we will make use of the hit and trial principle. According to the hit and trial principle, we will pick one symbol and locate its placement in the answer. And if that is a unique answer or unique position, then that is our answer. If it is not unique, then we will go on other symbols. The idea here is that there is a good chance that in the first hit and trial, we will be able to find our answer. And if so, we will not have to go or draw each and every symbol. And this way we can cut short the time in answering this question dramatically. So let's start with this example where we have a plus symbol which has the first placement. So give it number 1. This number 1 in the first set of numbers 2, 4, 3, 1 takes the 4th position. So the plus sign will become 4. Now in the answer, number 4, which is a plus sign, has the last position. So which of the numbers under the 3 options we have has the 4th number on the 4th position? It is 2, 3, 1, 4, which is the first one. So this is our answer. It is a unique answer because this is the only set of numbers which has 4th in the last position, which means the blue symbol in the last position. So 2, 3, 1, 4 is the answer. Let's take another example. Here we will start from the bottom. Again, let's start with the color blue or the plus sign, which has the first position. This first position becomes the 3rd position in the first set of numbers, which is 2, 4, 1, 3. So 1 is in the 3rd placement. So the plus sign will now have number 3. In the answer, the number 3 or the plus sign is placed at the end. So which of the 3 options that we have places number 3 at the end? It is 2, 4, 1, 3, which is in the middle. So this is our answer. Again, the idea here is that you can be very quick with identifying the answer just by picking one symbol and locating its placement in the answer, as against trying to locate the placement of all symbols in the answer. Lastly, the hack for the grid challenge. In the grid challenge, again, the hardest part is not the rotation or not the plus and minus of the symbols between the two shapes. Rather, it is the memory part where you have to remember the position of the dots. Now again, for the grid challenge, I have made a separate video. Rather, I've made 2 videos where I explain or take you through different examples on how to solve them. So check out that video if you want to understand how to solve different sample questions. And by the way, if you go through those sample questions, most of them you should also see reappearing in the test. So make sure you go through them. Other than that, make sure you also go through the practice tests that I've recommended, again, just to get better at it. But coming back to the memory part, which is the difficult part, the best way or the smart or hack or the cheat here is that every time you see the memory screen with the dot on your screen, just mark it with the removable marker. When you mark it with the removable marker and you move the screen, that spot is still there. By the way, mark it with the number. So whether it was the first position or the first dot, whether it was the second dot with number 2, whether it was the 3rd dot. So mark its position on your screen with the removable marker. I do explain in detail and demonstrate this hack in the video that I've created on Grid Challenge. So do check out that video. But essentially what you're doing is, instead of trying to remember the placement of the dot, you just mark its placement on your screen. And when eventually you are asked to click based on your memory, the different position of the dots, you don't have to use your memory because they are already marked on your screen. And you can just click the first and the second and third dot based on the 1, 2, 3 or the different placements you have on your screen. And then as soon as the question is over, you remove it with or wipe it out because you need to be ready for the next question. Again, with this strategy, hack or cheat, you will be able to remove all the stress that is there with regards to you trying to remember the placement of those dots. Instead, you can focus all your brain power in solving the rotation and the other image questions that are coming after each and every segment of the memory question. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully this video was helpful for you to now be able to ace the P&G online tests, the peak performance test and the interactive assessment test. In case you like the video, I'm sure you will also like the video once you clear all these tests, where I talk about how you can go about acing P&G's interview process. So here's the video for that. Other than that, I have another video where I talk about how you can go about acing the most important part of the interview, which is introduce yourself, which is most underprepared. Here's the link to that video. Thank you.